Acadia After Dark is a horror podcast, and as such, may not be appropriate for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Acadia After Dark podcast. I am the Reverend Redbeard, and I'm happy to be with you for a solo episode this week. Figure once a month we'll do a roundup episode so that we can kind of go over some stuff that's just relevant to the channel that I don't want to bog down the other episodes with, especially when we have guests and stuff. It kind of feels out of place to just talk about my shit. So this is going to be probably the one for April into the beginning of May, because we got some news, but I'm going to have some bigger stuff coming later in May. I'm just confirming a few things before I fully divulge details. But either way, I thought this would be a kind of a good thing to do on a regular basis, just to keep everybody in the know, especially until we get more people on the website. And currently, right now, the website just launched last week. It's been about a week and a half now. It's been getting some pretty good traffic. I don't mind saying that I was hopeful that if I just started keeping up with updating that I would be able to get away from doing some of the social media stuff as frequently. And it seems to be working because I'm able to kind of streamline a little bit more of my process through that. And it's been a load off this week, so it's great. Anyways, while we're on the subject, because I do want people to see and know how to access, information and stuff for the show, because I'm not going to put anything behind a paywall that relates directly to the show. I just don't want to do that. I wrote a blog post the other day and said the website isn't going to end up being like a subscription thing. It's not going to be that we're going to require people to pay for any of the videos that I do or the podcasts currently. Like out of the four that have been announced for the channel, I think we're just going to keep all four of those as free for the foreseeable future. If one of them goes away or something, it might, get replaced with something different. But at the moment, I think having the podcast every week is obviously something that's always going to be there. The Fearsome Five has been a little more inconsistent because it's just the writing process of it is really easy and everything, but also 5 minutes, you can only really do so much in 5 minutes, right? It's a fun series, but I'm kind of running into some of the fearsome critters and I'm realizing I don't want to just cut their stories down to 5 minutes. And that's, uh, yeah, going to be a little more difficult to navigate. So we'll see what goes on with that. Then Campfire Stories, that just debuted this month. So people who enjoyed the first season of Acadia After Dark probably saw a lot of similarities in Campfire Stories and the format of it and how the structure of it is built out. The whole thing is basically I take a local legend or a story that I've learned that is relevant to Maine and the local area to Acadia, and then I will explain it in trying to go in more detail than I did in the first season of Acadia After Dark. So it's going to be a little bit more in between each episode, but it's also going to be you get more per an episode because the first episode is a solid half hour and talking about Witch Hole Pond. So Witch Hole Pond is a local legend to me that I grew up with, and I went ahead and did a little extra research into it to get some of the local historical society information and stuff like that. Again, historical societies and newspapers are doing a lot of the heavy lifting in my research because a lot of this stuff local to me, if it's talking town records like who owned this piece of property or what might have been built here, they've already got that stuff. So when we were going into looking to do the campfire stories, I wanted to do one that was going to be really one that nobody had heard of. And I don't know, I've never seen or heard anybody tell the legend of Witch Hole Pond. So I wanted to make sure that that was the first one I did. And I had a fun time writing the episode. I had a fun time recording it. It's a little different in the narration style from the original one, but I'm trying to keep that like calm tone and putting that creepy, backtrack of the fire and everything like that. I think is a really cool vibe. I enjoy it, so hopefully you do too. It's one of those things that I'm trying things out for, different shows, but I felt like we needed to have one that was still going to maintain that format of the original series. And I think this one's a pretty good approximation of that. Just a little more in depth, because that was one thing people said is they were like, the first season of Acadia After Dark, there were a few episodes that they were like, it felt like it was abbreviated. And I didn't intend that. I think it was just because I was just trying to make sure that I was able to write them within the course of the period of time that I had to write it. And so I was leaving some stuff out, and I could probably go back and do some of the stuff from the first season. I definitely did when I start working on the book, which that'll be another thing I'll talk about in a minute. But when I started working on the book, I realized pretty immediately that a lot of the episodes I did from season one, I only really did like, it wasn't, I wouldn't call it abbreviated. I think I was telling the story that I wanted to tell, but it is a snapshot of the story overall. But 10-15 minute YouTube videos are not, they're what some people like to consume. Other people like a little longer format content. Starting out, I was trying a few different things, so we'll see what happens. But I think it's going to be around the half hour for campfire stories going forward, maybe even longer than that. I know the next episode of it is going to be a bit longer because it's another local legend that I don't think many people have talked about. I think y'all will enjoy it. It's right on the same island, in fact. So it's going to be another couple weeks before that one comes out. In the meantime, though, I'm still working on looking some more stuff for the month. So one thing we had that was fun this last month. We've had a lot of great interviews on the show recently. Uh, had let's see, wow, it's been such a month. We had Jeff from Maine Paranormal and Horror Con. We've had Nick and Katie from Emporium. They were both great guests. Everybody I've had on the show has just been so fantastic, and I've just meeting so many cool people and everything. It's just been a really enjoyable experience, and that's something I'm looking forward to expanding more because I've got plenty more guests lined up for the show. I'm even gonna have my first returning guest this coming month. So we also had, let's see, in April we had Brian was on the show from Zombie Apocalypse. Had a really fun time talking to him. I think we're going to do that again soon. We're talking about doing something I think y'all will probably enjoy a lot. It's going to be a cryptid centric little, conspiracy project that I think y'all will be interested in. So stay tuned for that. Um, had Ant on the show, so that's funny because Ant, the human avatar associated to the campsite on Threads, it, wicked fun interview. Great dude. Had a blast of a time. Ended up, surprisingly enough, being the most viewed podcast episode we've had yet, which was wild to me. I guess I kind of thought it was going to be a good episode, and I did say that to him, but I also wasn't sure how much people were going to respond to it. And I'm glad y'all loved it because it definitely has been it's been a very successful one for the channel so far. And I know by my metric it's a little skewed, but hey, if you guys are enjoying it and people are telling me they're enjoying it, I'm gonna take that for what it's worth. Then coming up, we're gonna have, let's see, I got my buddy TJ is gonna be coming on the show next week. So that'll be a fun episode. Thomas Washburn Jr. from In the Kingdom of Nightmares. first musician I've had on. Well, I had Nomar. Nomar's a musician, so yeah, I guess it's the first metal musician I've had on the show. So he'll be coming on next week. Then a week after that, I'm gonna have another musician, my friend Billy, who I was formerly bandmates with, and now he's running an operation that I think is pretty damn interesting, and y'all will be pretty tuned into. He also shared a pretty creepy story or two with me, so I think y'all will enjoy having him on the show. And as I said, we're going to have the first returning guest to the show. I think people will be super excited about that, but I'm going to save it for a surprise because I think it'd just be more fun that way. But May is going to be a booked up month. I'm going to be doing a little bit of traveling part of May. And then when I come back, I'm going to be getting back to writing and producing new content. But in the meantime, the podcast episodes will not stop. And I'm going to have a couple of other things and videos out on the way. This brings us kind of to the next part of this whole monthly wrap up. So beginning of the month, we started off in April. The first big videos we did the top 5 humanoids. That was a fun video to make. I just wanted to do some, more of those top 5 videos because they're really easy and kind of fun to make. So I wanted to throw one of those together. That was a cool one. People seem to enjoy it. Had another one that we did not long after that. Um, I started writing another one, but I think it's going to be until next month that I release that. I don't think those are going to be regular at all. The top 5s or anything like that. I think that's going to be a kind of a sporadic thing, but it's fun to do, so I will do those on occasion. We debuted the first episode or the prologue of Acadia After Dark Season 2. So basically, and I've said this a few times, but I just keep wanting to inform, just make sure people know because I know I'm going to get comments and questions and stuff regardless, but I'm just trying to make it as abundantly clear as possible. So basically, Acadia After Dark, the series as it was, is not going to be a nonfiction format now. It is now going to be a narrative audio drama horror anthology format that is going to be based in local folklore, but in more of an alternate history or an alternate universe sort of scenario, right? So the first series that we're doing in this, or the first story arc we're going to be telling, is going to be one that is predating the modern era in Maine and predating most indigenous cultures that we know here. And it's going to be telling a story of two people whose names have basically been lost to time. And you'll see that there's, you know, the names are kind of irrelevant here because the story that is told kind of goes without it goes without saying. And it speaks to a lot of different things. So I think people will definitely enjoy it, but also there's this is going to be a big tone shift from what we've previously done, and I want to be clear on that because I know I've started doing the content warnings, even though I screwed that up and forgot it for Campfire Stories. I've been doing the content warnings, and I know with a lot of the content we did in season 1 that didn't seem entirely necessary, aside from like maybe the couple episodes that had some graphic violence discussed. Uh, the new series is going to be a lot more to it, and it may not be every episode, but there's definitely going to be a lot more stuff that's going to be triggering and going to be stuff that's not going to be everybody's bag, and that's totally fine. That's why I wanted to have multiple series because if you enjoyed one thing that we did, I don't want that to go away for you. I want to be able to do things, I want to be able to be creative, but I also want to have people enjoy what we're doing. And if you enjoyed the original series, Acadia After Dark, I don't want you to lose out on that because we have a lot of cool stories to be told that are based in Maine folklore. But the ones that I want to tell, there's too many of them to, just focus on one path. So I kind of wanted to free myself up to just write what I wanted to and research what I want to and tell the stories as they come to me. And hopefully you find parts of this that, you can identify and hook into. And then if, you enjoy it, just let me know. Cause it's kind of one of those things of like, if we start heading down one certain path and that isn't really for you, there's probably something else on the channel or something else in the pipeline that might be a little more your gear or a little more your speed. So definitely like don't just you know, just because of Fearsome 5 is not going to be a weekly thing right now. If you got into the channel for Fearsome 5, we're going to have other stuff about Fearsome Critters coming down the road and stuff that I think you're going to be really excited about because it's going to be a little more engaging. Also going to have, plenty more of those like weird local legends, the ghost stories and stuff like that. That's why I wanted to do campfire stories, is because there's so many of those that it's that aren't even like ones that you necessarily have like a full scope of where the story came from or things like that, but I still want to have a place to tell those stories. So that's what those are going to be. However, the anthology of Acadia After Dark is going to end up being a lot more of my own writing, short stories, things like that. And there will be interweaving storylines, and you're going to see that a lot of stuff in the channel itself is going to interconnect, but it's not going to be a straightforward linear progression of a story in some instances. I think people will dig it. Just give it a chance. I know it's asking a lot sometimes, but I want to try something, and hopefully y'all will enjoy it. So we'll see how it goes. Um, that being said, the prologue of Acadia After Dark had quite a few people that reached out and were like, "Wow, man, you really set up something here, and you really you know Maine." And it's like, well, yeah, it's because I lived here. Like I lived here most of my life. With traveling in between and stuff like that, it's like Maine is my home, and there's a certain part of it that honestly, oh great, there's a certain part of it that you're just gonna have more more relatability to people that are from here and understand certain things in the way that we kind of visualize it. But also, somebody brought up the point. They're like, well, it depends. If you're on coastal Maine, it's this, and if you're on inland Maine, it's that. I'm like, well, this is true. I myself am located in mid coast Maine. I'm in Acadia. But northern parts of Maine, well, they have their own stories. Don't think that I don't know about them. I have a lot of stories I'm getting ready to tell. And that's going to be a big chunk of the campfire stories. It's also going to be a big chunk of what we come forward on the anthology series here. But Acadia was a big region, right? And we want to cover as much as we can. So I'm going to be busy. Been doing a lot of reading, a lot of writing, and a lot of thinking. And I think what we've got is going to be something that's kind of new territory for me, but it's also going to be fun, and it's an adventure. So I'm looking forward to it. The other thing with the intro, so I said the history of Acadia part 1, and that's because that is the early history of Acadia. You may notice that a lot of people, when they think of Acadia, they don't think of the geographical location Acadia as known historically. They think of Acadia National Park. Well, that is its own history in my mind. So when we get there, that will be its own. We're not there yet. I don't know when we'll be there. I haven't decided quite yet, but I know it's going to be fun to get there. So, coming up, just looking a little bit ahead, this first series is going to be going way back. We're going to go back as far as our understanding of history in the region will allow us to go. And as I said, it's going to be some interpretive stuff because there are parts of our history that there's so little known about it that we have to try and fill in some gaps. But also that leaves a lot of room. It leaves a lot of room for storytelling, and a lot of room for mystery. And when you look at how this region is, it speaks volumes. Kind of the voids and the things that you don't necessarily see, they tell stories of their own. So that's what the first season is going to be. And as I said in the spoiler, the teaser, or whatever, the season is going to be called Painted Red. Now, if you paid attention to our social media, you might have an idea of where that's going. But I also know that you're not going to know what you're about to hear. So, looking forward to producing that. I'm starting the process right now, but I want to make sure this is the best quality that I can produce currently with my capabilities. That's part of why I launched the website. That's part of why I did another thing, which we'll talk about shortly. I bought a new microphone this month, partially because my old one was like basically on its last legs, but also just because I felt like we deserved a little better than what I was able to produce for the last 6 months. And part of growing is improving. So that's one of the ways that I wanted to up my game. Another thing that you're seeing is a lot new branding on the channels, a lot new graphical design and stuff. So basically, there is a story to that, and there is a logic to it. And truth be told, since the channel started, since I had the idea for Acadia After Dark very early on, I had not put a lot of thought into branding, to be 100% honest. And one thing that I didn't do either was really put a lot of thought and effort into logo design and things like that to the degree I should have. And you can even see it in like the way the thumbnails changed and stuff with the YouTube channel and things like that. There's growing pains, right? Well, now I'm finally gotten to a place where I could put some effort, time, and energy into trying to do some new stuff for graphics and new video techniques, just up in the production of all things. And when we had the website started, I'm like, we don't have a proper logo. The logo we had before was like a mock-up that was done, for nothing. And the other stuff that we had was literally there was no really much variety to it. We just kind of had a color scheme and a stories and a vibe. And now I think that we're in a better place to where now I wanted to make something that was going to be unique. So a few weeks ago, I put some money aside. I spent some time, getting some assets. Spent some time myself doing some work and some, graphic stuff, and a little drawing, a little bit of photoshopping, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Make some new thumbnails, and I made a bunch of new logos. I made some other stuff with them. Main logos that I've got, you've probably seen them on our social media now. We switched the YouTube. We switched most of the accounts over to a new logo, and when we were doing that, there was also a lot of them that I was like, I kind of want that on a shirt or something. And so that started me down the next big project that occurred in May or in April, sorry. And that was setting up merchandise. So that was something that I wasn't planning on doing until there was like a demand for it. If people started asking me if I had merch, then I was going to do it. Um, this was just kind of a thing that I was like, I decided myself I wanted some of these shirts, and then I looked at the prices on some of the sites that I was looking at. There wasn't really any feasible way to do it affordably to just bulk order them, so then I decided to do the made on demand services. Few of those are pretty predatory. I'm not gonna lie, and I'm not gonna name names because I don't want to like end up in lawsuits or nothing like that. But there were a few that I checked out that were very obviously like, I'm not gonna say that they're fraudulent or something like that, but they're not they're not for they're not for the creators, and they're definitely not for the customers. And I just didn't want to work with that. So some of the other ones that I did look into and tried, I tried setting something up through Shopify, which is a good site and everything, but just the price range of some of the stuff, when you look at the way that it's like, even when I took like and marked it down as much as I realistically could, just certain items on there, it was just because of fees and shipping and this and taxes and tariffs and everything else that's coming into effect. I was like, I didn't want to like have t-shirts that were going to be $40. I didn't want to have hoodies that were going to be $100. I don't want to break the bank for people that do want to get something and support the show. And honestly, it's not even about like getting money to support the show. Like if we get some money out of it, that's why somebody asked me about a Patreon. I don't have a Patreon right now. I don't even have a Ko-fi or a Coffee or whatever it is. I don't have any of those because I'm making the content because I want people to enjoy it right now, and I don't want people to feel like they have to pay for it to enjoy it. But at the same time, I am doing it for essentially free. It's a time commitment, it's a money investment now between different things I've got going on. And as I wrote in a blog the other day, I just wanted to have something that I can recoup some of that if people want to. That's the caveat here is if people want to. If people like a t-shirt design, then buy the t-shirt. Don't feel like you have to pay me to get Acadia After Dark. Acadia After Dark is still going to be there. But if Acadia After Dark puts out a shirt that says Acadia After Dark and you want to rep at something that says Acadia After Dark, by all means. But I also marked it down literally as much as I could on that too, because I want people to be able to buy it. And if they want to wear it, that's kind of its own prize to me in its own way. Because just having somebody want to wear a shirt that has has like a design that I, came up with or has the name of my, podcast on it, dude, that means the world. So, there's already been a bunch of people that have already reached out and I've already purchased some. I got some of the QC stuff the other day and it's good quality shit. I think that people will enjoy it. I'm working on more designs, but I don't want to overwhelm the store or people in general with a bunch of merchandise talk. And I certainly don't want to make a shit ton of merchandise and have it all just kind of be generic stuff. So I definitely want more variety. And down the road, I am going to commission some like custom, like channel art. I wanted to wait until the book was published, and I was gonna commission somebody that I've been following for a long time and see if they would do a cover for me. Now I'm thinking I might just do the shirt first because the book seems like it's gonna be a little bit well, not a little bit. It's gonna be a lot a bit later than I wanted it to be. So yeah, the merch you can find it through the website acadiaafterdark.com as I've been trying to migrate more stuff over there and make more content for the website itself so that there's more of a reason to be there instead of just the social medias and stuff. Social media is a cool tool, but I don't want to live there. And I think a lot of people are in that headspace now. So if you want a new landing place, the website is going to start more and more to be a place for that. And part of that is going to be upkeeping it. So I've been working on regular blogs. I've been trying to work on some sort of content that I can put that's just the website exclusive content. Um, it's going to be a work in progress. It's very early on right now. And to be honest, with keeping the channel up, I do all of this myself. And it's just a lot of work. So it's like each day I'm pivoting from one thing to the next and I don't want any one thing to suffer for it. So I'm trying to balance these. Um, the other thing with the next couple of months coming up, because we've got more fun, cool stuff on the way that I'm just so excited about, and I don't want to get too much away before I have definite stuff. But one fantastic thing that happened in April was featured in the Bar Harbor Story, written by a New York. She's a journalist and a writer, New York Times author. She's fantastic. Interviewed with her back in February. Um, Finally had a chance to get it all together. She was it was just a fun interview. Definitely go check it out. I posted it on the website. Bar Harbor Story is a great little publication. They're a free Substack, always free. They have a ton of information that's local to my area and very relevant to me. And it was just a cool experience to have that. Like I'm legitimately gonna have that printed off and like framed because it's just that cool of a thing to me. So when I get back to I get back talking to them and then it turned into I had Criterion in Bar Harbor, who I had covered in season 1 of the show, they one day follow me on Instagram. To which then I thought it was funny because I was like, huh, the haunted movie theater that I talked about is now following me on social media. That's weird. Ha ha ha. Well, unassumingly, a couple weeks later, I get a message from them. And basically, long story short is not only did they tell me that they're going to be reopening this year, which I was ecstatic to hear. They're going to be reopening in June. But also they asked me if I would be interested in doing my thing live in this theater, which, needless to say, is an opportunity I simply cannot pass up. And I was absolutely just over the moon to even be offered this. We're still working out the exact dates, but there is going to be an Acadia After Dark live, and it's going to be from a haunted movie theater or a haunted Criterion theater, so even better than a movie theater. And I'm hoping to be able to get to do some other stuff there. Also, like, I've wanted to investigate it for a while, and I'm not going to get all my ducks in a row right now. I'm going to focus on the live show first. But if I also get an opportunity to actually investigate the place myself, I really want to do that. Especially because I've had a few things that have come up recently that people have been asking me stuff about the Criterion that I know to be false, but I want to actually like get the like info out there to people, and so I'm trying to figure out the best way to do that. Either way, I'm wicked excited about the opportunity that is being offered. It truly is just an absolutely huge thing for me personally, because it's a theater that I've grown up around most of my life, and it's a historic location, and I love public speaking. I love performing, so having the opportunity to be able to do that in such a place is just such a cool thing, and I can't fucking wait. And I'm hoping that it might, kind of spin off into something more, because the whole thing I want to do here is tell stories. And whatever medium I can do it, whether it be podcasts on Spotify and Apple, or whether it be on a YouTube channel, videos, whether it be on other people's podcasts or news stories or books, or I mean, on a live stage, I want to be able to tell stories. So that's like definitely something that's going to be a fun thing to do. And I'm really looking forward to it. Hopefully, people that are fans of the show will be able to make it up here this summer and be able to check it out live. I definitely suggest, if you've been listening to the podcast this long and you've ever wanted to check out Maine, one thing I got to say, and this is a little bit politically oriented, but it's definitely relevant to people that live in the area. And I think some of you will already know this, others will probably relate. So, due to the current political climate internationally, Maine is in a really rough spot because we're very heavily reliant on tourism. It's approximately 10% of the US economy in general, and in Maine, it's actually probably closer to 40%, because we have so many areas here that are just so heavily dependent on that 6 months a year where tourism is a big thing here. And Canadian tourism, international tourism makes up a big chunk of that as well. And that's already declined by as much as 20%. And a lot of businesses are already starting to suffer. Our national park is going to be struggling this year, not as bad as we were thinking it might have been, but I talked to some people yesterday, and it's still not great. So, one thing that I want to say is, if you're a fan of the show and you've ever wanted to be, you ever wanted to come to Maine and check it out, this would be a great year to do it. And I'm not saying that as like come from like, if you're a Canadian, just like, ignore everything that's coming on and come here, like protect your peace. And obviously, be aware of the, I guess, the political environment right now in the US. I don't want to get too far into it because I seriously just like nowadays it's just weird. But the whole thing is going to affect businesses more than anything. And the people that are going to be affected are the people that are not able to recover from it. So if you can, And if you are so inclined to come to Maine, this would be a good year. And there's going to be still a ton of availabilities. The park is still going to be open. There's still going to be all the great stuff that Maine is known for. But also, there's going to be fun summer activities that's going to be even better. We've got like that Maine Paranormal Horror Con that's going to be coming up. There's usually other paranormal fairs. There's Renaissance fairs in the state. You've got the national parks. You've got, Acadia After Dark Live coming into a theater, in the middle of a haunted city. I mean, or well, haunted coastal town, because it is definitely by no means a city, but nonetheless, it's a unique opportunity. And if people are looking for things to do this year, and you have the ability to do so, now would be a time. And this is an area that I think would appreciate it more than most. Um, just one of those things. It's my plea for help for businesses around here who have nothing to do with me, but I just want to I want my community to be taken care of. So it's as simple as that. Anyways, that's enough of my soapbox preachiness for this week. Either way, it's been a long month. April has flown by, folks. It really is insane how much time has flown over the past half a year doing this show. Getting to know so many cool people doing this show has really been a blast. I want to do this for much, much longer, and hopefully, you all be along for the ride. In the meantime, I am going to sign off for this week. I know this is a little shorter than the interview episodes, and probably will be going forward. This one, I wanted to just do a wrap up episode, like I said, each month. And maybe some months we'll have more topical stuff that I can just go over, news and whatever. This month, I didn't have a lot of that planned out, so I just wanted to kind of talk about the channel and stuff. But in the meantime, if y'all have, been enjoying what we've been doing, drop us a like, subscribe, all that stuff. The ratings on Spotify really do help. We got our fourth 5-star rating the other day, and that was just awesome to see. We just crossed over 171 subscribers on YouTube. I'm hoping to go 200 by my birthday next month. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully by the next update video, we'll have crossed that milestone, and then it's onwards and upwards. But in the meantime, if you guys want to check out more content, YouTube is there. We always find us on Threads and other social medias. And we will definitely be more and more active on the website going forward. So make sure you make that a bookmark white site in your, tab folder there, because I'm going to be posting stuff there pretty regularly with news and updates. You'll still be able to get the monthly wrap up videos on the YouTube, but that's going to be a big place for just trying to migrate some stuff off of social media. Anyways, I hope you all have a great start to May. I will be back soon with next week. Like I said, we'll have TJ on the show. Week after that will be a fun little endeavor into the musical land. It's going to be different, but I think y'all will enjoy it. And we're going to have a lot of other, fun guests coming up in May. I've got a couple of big ones that I'm super excited to have on the show, and I think people will be pretty interested for it. Anyways, as I said, y'all, it has been amazing talking to you, and I hope that you have a great week. Have a wonderful evening. This has been the Reverend Redbeard for Acadia After Dark, signing off. Y'all keep those lanterns lit and stay safe out there. Talk soon.